Welcome to the Greenway Outdoors Podcast, your trusted source for outdoor information and entertainment. The Greenway Outdoors is also an internationally syndicated TV show and conservation advocate aimed at bringing millennials and Generation Z into the outdoors. Welcome to the Greenway Outdoors. Hello and welcome to episode 55 of the Greenway Outdoors Podcast. I'm Kyle.
I'm Jeff.
I'm AJ.
Ryan.
So we are actually excited because we have a special guest on the line, and it's Tiffany Spangler, and I'm going to make sure I'm saying that name right, but she's the editor and publisher of Life Outdoors magazine, brand new magazine, came down to the South, but also is available online, and our PR manager actually stumbled across it and sent it to me, and it is fantastic. So Tiffany, are you there?
I am here. How are you guys doing?
Pretty good. I did a pretty cool intro, didn't I?
Nice.
Well, you like how I said you guys, because I'm used to saying y'all.
Nice.
So I had to throw in some northerners in there for y'all.
Now, where are you located yourself?
We are actually in Texas.
Okay. Texarkana, right?
Yes, it is.
They are.
Really?
Texas.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
I hear that
we
in country
literally are
songs.
on the border of the line of Texas, Arkansas, and Louisiana. So we get the best of all three worlds right there, and we're just a stone's throw away from Oklahoma. So, I mean, it's really great outdoor activity down here pretty much all year round.
Yeah, you guys also have some awesome food.
Yeah, thank you. We have researched those recipes like crazy. You have no idea. I mean, it was such a hard idea or hard task to try to pick the best ones. But
You're talking about in the magazine itself, right?
Way more. Oh, yeah.
Yeah. But I mean, you
are you talking about
your
the food
location in general is just perfect for food.
Yes, it is.
That's-
It is. We have some really good southern food.
Creole, Cajun, Southern, the whole nine. I like it.
Fish.
Yes, absolutely.
We did a Louisiana trip last year and did a crawfish boil down there.
Doesn't feel like a year ago.
Oh, yeah, those
Big
are
meat
so
crayfish.
fun. Crawfish are really fun to eat. There's just not a lot there. But the chicken and dumplings and the fried chicken is
Chicken and dumplings. That sounds so good. So for
I know,
those
I'm surprised y'all know what it is.
for those listeners that don't know, tell us what Living Outdoors magazine is and also where people can find it.
Absolutely. Okay, so Life Outdoors is it's a curated kind of magazine that is based around everything that there is to do outdoors. We print bi-monthly, but we also have our online interactive version, which most magazines don't have, where you can actually click on an ad or something like that and take you directly to the page. And what we do is we try to bring since our Texas weather is quite crazy, we actually have about 2 months of what we would say was consistent weather. And so, there's different things that come about every 2 to 4 months, even though season is 4. But we try to bring out the best of the activities that there are to do within like a weekend's drive, or, if you want to get away for a week or something like that in a regional area. Things that you can get these kids out of the house and off their tablets and iPhones and everything else and away from all the electronics and get them into the outdoors having fun like we did when we grew up.
Right.
And, we try to bring something in for everyone, like recipes, hunting, fishing, house and home. We actually have a great section of how to bring the outdoors in. We have cozy cabins, so it's wonderful when the husband has been out in the woods too long and the wife doesn't really love it. He can get her a nice cozy cabin and take her up there. We also have like adventures, fun things to do. We try to keep it very family oriented. And the best way around that whole family orientation of the outdoors is with our recipes. Like what you were saying, like, if the wife doesn't love to hunt, which fortunately my husband does have that, at home, because I love to hunt and I love to be outdoors. But if the wife doesn't love to hunt, she's probably wondering, how do I bring home this, or how do I fix up this game that my husband has brought home? Like, what do I do with it? There's only so many ways you could fry deer steak or, whatever else it is. And so we try to give them different kind of recipes that they can use, whether it's camping and cooking over an open fire or it's with the fish. All of our seasonal fish, we offer recipes for all of those that are in season that we have in the magazine that we feature. In our fishing section, we have recipes for it. And the same thing with our wild game. So, we want to give them good ways to get creative with the dishes and with what they harvest so that way they can bring it home and feed their families.
That's awesome.
That's what we're all about, is family orientation.
One of the things that I noticed about the magazine, too, is the quality of it. you know, your graphic design is second to none, but also the cover, like the material that you guys used, it's really top notch.
Thank you. We really strive to be different in that. We wanted to stand out because, as you know, I'm sure, coming out with a new publication in this day and age is very difficult. And I've
Sure.
ran across a lot of people that we know, which we've been in the business for quite a while. My co-publisher and partner and art director, she's 20 years in the business as far as graphic design. She has won national press awards, state press awards. I mean, I could not literally build a better one on one of those, build your own sites. Like,
Right.
There's no way possible.
Right.
That's as long as I've been alive.
Yeah. That's
Yeah, I know, right? and she's, we're a little bit older, but, we keep it fresh. We've got young kids.
Yeah, and
But,
it looks good, and the skill sets are clearly there because it does look fantastic.
She's amazing. We work so well together. Like, to be honest, like with our covers and things, I basically cut out about 5 different shapes of pictures, and I chicken scratched it because I cannot draw. And so I literally kind of just like drew out a bunch of lines and threw in a bunch of words. And she's like, I think I can do that. And I said, and then the next thing I get is the top, our cover. And we both were really aimed at producing a quality product. We're very much perfectionists, and we want everything to look its absolute best and be top notch. Anything we put our name on, because we will not put our name on it if we do not feel like it's worthy of it, and something that we can be proud of. And so we went with a 80-pound cover, which a lot of people don't know what that is, but it's a super thick cover that's like, and it's got a matte cover finish with a very gritty texture. And the inside is, a 60-pound, which is a little bit lighter, but it's not like a catalog kind of texture. And then with the perfect bind on the side, there's no staples, and so it actually looks like a book. And the whole idea behind the design was to have a very nice coffee table book or something that people would want to display on their coffee tables. Because I know my mom has brought me home all these issues of Architectural Digest and B Magazine, which is very popular in Dallas and things like that. And they have beautiful covers. And so I just lay them under my coffee table. And then I wanted something that we could, people would be proud of to display, because when they display it, then other people that come into their home pick it up and want to know what it is. And so that was kind of our idea of making it, something that people wanted to pick up.
Sure.
Absolutely.
Now, for this magazine, because obviously quality is a key thing, what does it cost, and how is it distributed? How can people find it?
Well, people can find it if they don't live in the 4-stage region of Texas, Arkansas, Louisiana, and Oklahoma. They can find it on our website. It's www.lifeoutdoorsmagazine.com. And we also have a Facebook page, which is very well-traveled, and it's got a lot of traffic with it and everything, and we do a lot of giveaways and stuff on our Facebook page. But there's a direct link always on our Facebook page to get to our website, and they can view the entire interactive version of our magazine. And so you may not get to hold it in your hand, but if you want to, you can always, fill out the questionnaire for us, and we can send you one.
That's awesome.
And it comes directly to our email, and we get your, name and address and everything, and we'll be happy to mail one out. Other than that, we actually, in our region, we are located in over 400 locations. We've mailed out quite a few to various places, actually way north of us. We've mailed out a lot to Dallas area, which is actually 3.5 hours from us. Fayetteville, which is actually 5 hours from us. We've had requests from Florida. We've had requests from Missouri. We have really, honestly, we had no idea that it was going to, be as renowned as it is. But we've put a lot of work into it, and so we're excited to share what we have with the world and, let them learn how they can live their best life outdoors.
Sure, absolutely. Another question I have on this is, obviously you're super passionate about it and obviously the outdoors and everything like that. But what specifically inspired you guys to want to start something like this, especially with how difficult it is?
Right. Well, honestly, there's nothing else around. Kristen and I both worked for a local newspaper that was actually owned by regional owners, and we worked there together. And I presented it to them when I was there, and it's been about 8 years. And I said, I really want to do this. This is the passion project. I think it can make money. We can do well with it. And they said they didn't want to do it. So I said, no problem, I get it. And so then
someone tells you no, and that opens a door, right?
Right. Well, fast forward 7.5 years, and I've saved stuff left and right, and wanted to do this. And Kristen and I did our daughter's yearbook for school together. And I said, I have a project I want to do, but I don't want to do it with anybody but you. And she said, what do you have? And so I ran it by her, and it literally took off like a wildfire. My husband actually guides in Colorado and Southwest Texas, and he guides elk in Colorado and deer in Southwest Texas. My mom was a professional bass fisher for 23 years. So as a kid growing up around the fishing industry and all of these legends, I literally had no idea what I was surrounding myself by. And how many times that she told me to, go to bed in the bottom of a boat and get a towel and cover up because they were setting trout lines and we had to catch some fish. But it was kind of an industry that I grew up around, and my family all loves hunting, and my oldest daughter loves duck hunting is her favorite. She loves duck hunting. She's excited to go elk hunting. We haven't let her go yet, but she's excited to go this next year. And
that's quite a hunt.
We all hunt together as family. Yeah, it is a lot of fun.
What kind of guiding does your husband do in Colorado?
He just does elk.
Nice.
Elk hunting guide. And then sometimes they get mule deer tags and stuff like that, but they're a draw and stuff, and we only get so many. But elk hunting, he's done that for 10 years now almost. And so I get to go up and I get to hunt. So but I have to cook for the hunters. So I go up and I cook for the hunters and take care of all the hunters, and my husband guides. And then once we get the hunters tagged out, then I get to go hunting. So it's a lot of fun.
Nice.
That's cool.
You're rooting them on. You're like, hurry up.
You really know your stuff, and that's
right.
impressive.
You had a good system.
Well, thank you. We've tried. I mean, it's all a trial and error and learning basis. I mean, we've learned so much throughout the years, over the years. But the more that I learn, the more that I feel like I love it more, because
Absolutely.
I like to learn, and I feel like it's very important to learn the different things to the way to harvest the animals and the best way to do it, and the way to keep it classy and professional, and make sure that you do what you only harvest what you can eat. That's what our family kind of goes by. It's like everything that we harvest, it's either a nuisance animal that is tearing up some of our crops or our land or things like that, or it can hurt someone, or it's something that we eat. And so having the recipes in there was the biggest part of that for me, because we want to make sure that everybody knows that hunting is not just a sport and a game activity, or going out and taking animals off the earth. Like, it's a circle of life. They need to go out there and harvest what they eat, and it's more organic and it's more healthy.
Right. And as you guys can see, why I would have Tiffany on the show. Her magazine represents a lot of what our TV show represents. And I believe it's going to be bi-monthly, right? Isn't that right?
It is. It is bi-monthly, and eventually we do plan on doing other stuff on our website and everything that is not just bi-monthly, that's kind of sporadic. But we want to make sure and give our readers the full meaty content and informational content. Of course, we have, along with our recipes, we have safety in every issue, because safety is a big concern for us, especially with me as being a mom of 2 kids. Our girls love to hunt and love to be outdoors and do these activities, but hunting can be very dangerous if you don't take safety precautions seriously and don't take the proper precautions. And so safety is a big aspect to us, and so we will always have safety integrated in our magazine. And I think that more people need to understand, that all the different aspects that goes into safety, which is what y'all promote. And I think that it was awesome of y'all to ask me to be on there, because y'all stand for so much of what we are trying to do.
Yeah, you guys are kind of like the magazine partner of who we are, or the counterpart.
Right.
The magazine counterpart of the Green Outdoors.
About that the other day. That's really funny.
Well, we appreciate you so much for coming on and talking about it. For those of you who want to check it out, again, it's Life Outdoors Magazine. Go to their website. It should be on the screen right now, so you should be able to see it. Life Outdoors Magazine. We were talking with Tiffany. Tiffany, thanks so much for joining us, and we'll talk to you soon, okay?
Thanks so much, guys. I appreciate it.
Bye,
Appreciate
Tiffany.
Thank you.
Bye, Tiffany.
Bye.
Yeah.
Hello and welcome back to the Green Outdoors podcast. If you just enjoyed that cool sizzle reel, because AJ made it, our director, because he's awesome.
Nice.
And that was a cool promo video. Somebody else cool picked out the clips, and then AJ made it look spectacular. So that was
pay him for that.
Fine brush.
yeah. I just so the Green Outdoors is also a television show. We air on the Sportsman Channel as of January or February 2020. We're airing at. Thanks, Ryan. We're airing at 9:30 p.m. Eastern Standard Time every Saturday. So check us out. Now, I want to spend some time diving into an article that I saw, and it was something that was shared by a lot of people on my friends list. So obviously, naturally, I made my friends list a whole lot shorter when I saw this. I'm just kidding. I'm not one of the people that unfriend people just because they post stupid stuff. But the idea of the article was something that hits at a soft spot for a lot of people. And the name of the article was Stop Treating Animals as Invaders for Simply Trying to Exist. Okay? So I'm going to read a couple excerpts. Did I do that right?
Excerpts.
Excerpts?
Yeah.
If I say it quick, no one knows I got it wrong.
It's some excerpts.
Yeah, exactly. I got it.
That works.
Now, I want to read some of this because I want to get you the feel for the article. Get a feel for what I was reading. It's long, so I won't bore you with the whole thing. But it started out with, wild animals around the world are being removed from human communities and killed en masse. What are the animals doing to deserve this punishment? Earlier this month, officials in Australia announced plans to shoot and kill thousands of camels. What did the camels do to deserve this punishment? They were looking for water to drink, and this search brought them into human communities. So obviously there was some mortal combat between some people and some camels.
Nice.
Okay.
Nice.
And then last year, U.S. federal and state governments spent tens of millions of dollars on plans to eradicate bands of feral pigs. So getting rid of feral pigs. What did the pigs do to deserve this punishment? They were looking for food to eat, and this search, once again, brought them into human communities. This year, Denver is poised to kill more of its Canada goose population after slaughtering 1,600 geese last year, which is a joke. I mean, 1,600 geese.
When I read that, I
You ever go
couldn't
snow
believe it.
goose hunting? You ever go, so we kill 1,600 snow geese in a day, and I'll get to that. So what are the geese doing to deserve this punishment? They're merely trying to live. Colorado is part of this historic range, and now they're seen as a nuisance? These stories are on just the tip of the iceberg. While the details vary, the general theme is always the same. When human and non-human interests appear to conflict, we use violence, often in the form of organized extermination campaigns, to resolve these apparent conflicts in our favor. It's about to be school time, boys. Okay, first of all, we're going to skip the camels because I don't know anything about camels. Other than, I just went to a wild game dinner and tried camel, and I didn't like it.
Nice.
That's what I got for you.
Okay.
It was funny because my friend Tella told me it's going to be salty. And I was like, well, the meat itself can't be naturally salty. It's got to be like whatever they do to it. Maybe this is prepared differently. It was like licking a salt brick.
Oh,
Really?
okay.
Yeah, I was like, this is awful. People are eating it around me. I'm like, what are you doing? What are you out here doing?
You don't like it?
Yeah, you don't like it. Don't act like you do.
Exactly.
We're going to skip the camels, but I'm guessing it's similar to the next problem, pigs, okay? We just had a guest on our show talking about Texas, and I bet if we would have asked her, she would have given you a whole lot of information on what pigs are doing to the economy in Texas and other states throughout the United States. But we'll stick on Texas for now. Hundreds of millions of pigs. And the thing is, the reproduction rate, and I'm hoping Jeff remembers it because I
Is
don't.
it 100 million pigs?
I don't know
I
that.
want to say it was like 2 million or 4 million.
That's
a lot of pigs.
The number I'm
regardless.
using, I'm saying hundreds of millions.
Millions.
That's way too many,
One or
and I overdid it. I
I'm like,
agree.
whoa.
But there are so many pigs, and the problem is how fast they reproduce.
Sure, they'll get there if you.
So
let
within 3 months, a female that was just born, she's born. 3 months later, she's ready to reproduce. She will have anywhere from 3 all the way to like 12 babies. Normally leaning on the higher
In
side.
the meantime, the original mom is also having another litter after 3 months.
Exactly.
So now you've got one pig reproducing. Then you've got her plus all of her offspring reproducing. Then 3 months later, the original pig can reproduce again, plus the babies can reproduce, plus those babies can reproduce. So it's exponential, and you're just, before you know it, there's more pigs than people.
Right. And that's actually what's happening. Now, the other thing is, you think they reproduce like rabbits. They don't eat like rabbits. You should.
Rabbits wish they reproduced like pigs.
Yeah, exactly. The pigs are the rabbits of the actual. No. I can't draw it. But you get where I'm going with this. Okay. So Jeff talked about how fast they reproduce. Now, the problem with that is how much they eat. they can root up fields. A pack of pigs. What are they called? Like
A sounder.
sounder, really?
Sounder.
You couldn't wait. You couldn't wait. You got that word in your back pocket. He couldn't. Boom.
Buddy, we went to Texas to hunt pigs, and we learned
Don't
all
remember
So,
it.
anyways, I was too busy shooting pigs. He was too busy picking his nose.
shooting pigs.
Yeah. So anyhow, the problem is those pigs eat a ton, and they're wiping out crop. The crop damage is incredible.
Yeah, it was like something like one sounder, which is like, I don't know, 20 pigs could rip up like an entire acre of farmland in one night. So a farmer goes to bed.
On the low end.
He's got corn. He wakes up. He's got well, he probably doesn't only have 1 acre. He's a bad farmer. But,
Yeah, very
but now
bad farmer.
Now he's got
Everyone
no
starts
corn
somewhere.
in this whole acre.
Nice.
And, if you don't get ahead of it, the next night they're going to go after more food. So
Mm-hmm.
they got to keep going. So they're losing acres a night. Ugh.
Right. So, with that, you've got all these pigs, and they're rooting up everything, and they're destroying the economy. Now, because of that, it's gotten to the point with pigs that they took off all rules and regulations on how to kill them. So people are shooting them from helicopters, exterminating them, just like what they're talking about. The problem is, there is nothing we can do. Hunters will not be the key to the battle. There's talks, when we went there was people using dynamite. There's people shooting them out of, no, they're setting traps with dynamite that go off when a bunch of pigs get on it.
Yep.
It's not even about consuming it. Now, the pig is an actual resource. You can eat wild pig. You won't get bacon, but you will get great ham and excellent food from it. Pork, yes. So, you can consume it. The thing is, if we don't control the pig population, like Bob Barker always said, have your pig spayed or
Nice.
neutered. If you don't, Ryan doesn't get it because
Yes,
he's
I
12.
do. Yes, he
He's
would
12.
say that at the
He's 12.
end of every
He's 12.
show.
He's like,
12.
you mean Drew
I don't look
Carey?
like I'm 12. I don't look like I'm 12.
You were never. Oh, that was good.
He looks old.
You were never sick in 1999 at home watching TV.
No, what it was for me was like
You
you'd
were
be
being
sick
born.
and you'd fall asleep when it's still light out, and you'd wake up in the middle of the night and you'd see George Lopez's face coming up from the bottom of the screen from Nick at Night. That's what that was for
the
me.
show. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, yeah.
Anyways, so back to facts.
That mattered.
terrible.
They're doing everything they can. They're killing as many pigs as possible, just like the article saying. The problem is if we don't, the pigs will actually eat us out of house and home. I am on team people, as Joe Rogan likes to say.
Sure.
If we don't control the pig population, it will build itself up to such an incredible amount by reproducing to such a staggering amount that it will not find enough food in Texas, that it will eat all the crops, which means even the vegetarians starve, even the ones that won't eat pork. I bet they will if they have no food, though. If they take if those pigs grow to that, there's nothing to stop them to taking all of our crops. On top of that, once they run out of food, they'll die from disease, starvation, and predators. So by us controlling the population effectively and consuming the meat effectively, which we're not doing effectively, by the way, we can't even kill enough. But by doing that, you're utilizing the resource, you're helping the actual pig population so they're not so many that they're starving to death, and we're making it so human beings can still survive. I don't see any problem with that.
The thing that bugs me
But there's
about
also another side to that.
Let's hear it.
So there's
Devil's advocate.
because we've seen this. We've seen this in Texas. We've seen this in South Dakota, where these herds of geese and what was the term you used? Like if there's too many of them.
Overpopulated.
Yeah. Okay. So there's clearly not a reason to believe that those are going to go extinct anytime soon.
Right.
So yes, by all means, do what you have to do. We've seen it there. I have no problem with that. But there is evidence out there, at least acknowledgement, that a lot of species in other countries, not in America, South Africa, elephants, rhinos, where we've seen like the poaching can almost decimate the entire population.
Sure.
So in those instances, not including America, human involvement was the eradication of those species.
Sure.
And it's unfortunate because those species may eventually disappear.
Right.
Now, we're not going to see any pigs disappearing anytime soon.
No.
Because, like you said,
Because of-
hunters can't crunch the numbers. So human involvement needs to be
Pigs are built.
apparent.
Yeah,
No question about that.
The other half of what you're saying, though, is like those animals, had they been properly regulated, we might be having the issue where there's too many of them.
Yeah,
if,
and in
if
some-
they were properly
Yeah.
regulated.
It's just like
question
when
there.
people say there's drafts are like the low numbers of drafts. You shoot a draft, you're the most hated person in the entire world, right? If you posted a picture, you shot a draft on social media, that's a good way to get murdered. Okay. So the funny thing about it is, the way the draft hunting works in different areas, drafts are severely overpopulated in some areas, so that the locals, the people that live there and live off the land, the drafts will do the same thing, just decimate their entire thing, and they eat a lot.
They can reach stuff.
Not only that, though, what'll happen is a lot of times is there'll be one male that breeds a bunch of females. Okay, and once he gets older, he can't breed anymore. But he will murder any male that comes near any of the females.
Have you seen them
So,
fight?
so what? Yeah, it's really
They like swing their they use their
whip
neck.
them.
it's kind of a
weird.
sick way of fighting.
They whip it real good.
Good one, Ryan. The point is, the drafts, that male will no longer be able to reproduce, right? However, the other males won't be able to reproduce, so none of those females are having babies because this alpha male is keeping them all from doing it. So a hunter pays for a license to come there, and then he is commissioned to, well, he pays massive amounts of money.
Oh, yeah.
Hundreds of thousands of dollars to shoot that specific draft because that draft is what's keeping the population numbers low. So by shooting that draft, you're actually helping the population of giraffes, and then all the money you spent on the licenses goes towards the conservation of giraffes and the species and the studies and the biology to make sure that we're killing those choice drafts in the future, but also anti-poaching efforts and everything else.
Oh, yeah.
So by shooting that draft, there's more drafts and a better future for the ecosystem because you put so many dollars in. So people should celebrate you for shooting a draft, but instead they see one draft dead, so they think because the draft died, you hurt the population when that actually isn't the case.
as well as helping the human economy, putting so many dollars
Oh, sure.
and that meat.
If that government
And
is
creating jobs.
doing
Yeah,
it, though.
Yeah,
Two things.
that's 100%
Yes.
true.
Number one, I feel like you should put more emphasis on the first syllable of giraffe because it sounds like you're just saying draft. Also,
I thought it was draft. I'm
Also,
like,
draft doesn't even sound like a word anymore. You've said it so many times.
Giraffe. Yeah, Ryan.
Helps the draft.
So
helps the
next
draft.
week it'll just be Ryan and I. Anyhow, going back, I want to get back to the goose population thing. Okay, so they talked about geese being eradicated in their natural spread. Let me explain it. You know what? That is their natural grounds. Colorado. Congratulations, person who wrote this article. You got one darn
they're
thing
not.
right.
They're not credited in the article either.
Yeah, they're not.
No.
I didn't even look for that. So if you follow the path, let me get out this sheet of paper here and take you all to school. So here's my piece of paper. Imagine that this sheet of paper represents just a little line of the United States of America. So maybe Michigan's like right here, go over here to North Dakota, and go our way down, right? Okay? So during that path, the geese are going to fly that way every single year, no matter what. They're going to go to their feeding grounds in the summer, and they're going to go to their breeding grounds in the winter. They are going to fly north and south. That is what they're going to do. The picture you're seeing right now is actually an invasive Asian carp that I included, just to kind of explain another invasive species and getting rid of them. But without explanation, I look like a psychopath. So the point is, I felt like I needed to say something. So now we're following this flight path. Now, Jim Rohn said, famous motivational speaker Jeff really enjoys, and I like sometimes as well, said that you can't convince a goose to fly east. He's going to fly south or he's going to fly north. A goose, we have free will as people, but geese do not. They are going to go to the same breeding grounds, and they are going to go to the same feeding grounds that they go to every year. Now, the problem is when their numbers get too high, you can imagine, the feeding grounds have a finite amount of food. So if there's too many geese that go there, all of them don't get quite enough. Then they fly back up north. They do it again the next year. Now there's even more geese from the breeding, and there's even less food to go around.
The bust is what I was talking about.
Exactly.
Oh,
You were
okay.
getting there, and that's why I went with this. Okay, so now you get down there. Okay, now year 2, there's even less food for everybody. Some of them might not make it back up the next winter, but there's still a reproduction, so the number's still increased. Then they fly back the following year. There's way too many for the feeding grounds. They can't go east or west. They go where they go because that's how God made them, period. There's no ifs, ands, or buts about it. They go there. What can happen then is 70% of the entire population of geese can be wiped out in 1 year from a population bust because now there's not enough food there this year because there wasn't enough hunters harvesting them along the way. Don't get me wrong, geese are now a nuisance. It's funny because in the 80s and 70s and stuff like that, you got to see a flock of Canada geese around here, you'd be thrilled. Okay? Now they're everywhere. Kmart parking lots have 10,000 of them. So they no, I don't know if Kmart's still a thing. Well, call Martha Stewart. You got her number. Ask her. So
Nice.
anyhow, what I'm getting at is you can actually, by not hunting and managing these geese, you can wipe out the whole population.
Yes.
And it's happened before, and we're dangerously close to snow geese now from that happening too. So what did they do because of that? There's no regulations. You can have 18 shells in your guns. You can shoot as many snow geese as you want. No rules. You can put as many shells in your gun as you want. No big deal. They do that because they know if they don't kill enough of them, then the entire population could go away. It's not just about human intervention. There's often a lot of science behind it. Don't get me wrong, too many of one species in an area that infiltrates human communities can be annoying and can be a nuisance. I look at them like food, so it don't bother me much. But the point is, if we don't manage it through hunting, the species will bust. Same thing with the pigs, but with the pigs comes the bust of people as well, because they will eat us out of all crops if we don't stop them.
Yeah, it's like
so the bust of people and the bust of pigs, all because you care too much about the individual animal and not enough about the animal herd as a whole. And that's the difference between a hunter conservationist and somebody that's very passionate about the animals. I respect the love for animals. You'll never see me celebrate over a dead animal making gang signs or some weird thing. Okay, it's a biblical, spiritual experience to take an animal's life, to consume it for your family, and the deep respect I have for my food and the understanding I have for science and population booms and busts is why I just debunked your article without even trying. Thank you.
It's just not hard.
No.
People who make articles like this, they feel good about themselves because they talk about they love animals and how could you be so violent to these animals, but then they don't offer any other solution. Okay, so you get rid of the violence. We don't hunt anymore. Fine. Then you've still got communities.
I don't think conservation was mentioned once.
Are the communities going to go away? No. We're just like pigs. We're going to keep expanding. The communities are going to keep getting bigger. There's going to be less land for the animals to get water and food on. So what else are you going to do? You're going to get rid of the communities? No.
I'm pretty sure there was a guy that Hitler that tried that. There's a guy named Hitler that tried that.
And you're gonna have your Frappuccino and you're going to write your article about, but you're not going to do anything to fix it. What's the point?
And the point, what you just said, is that they don't offer any solution.
Yeah.
When the only proven solution it's failed a few times, but it's proven to be very effective, is hunting.
Yeah, the North American model of hunting.
Because you don't see like South Africa or Europe or Argentina copy the same conservation way that we do it. Well, you think they would?
They really can't. Because and the reason why they can't now is because they've hunted their stuff into oblivion, and the animals that were there aren't as hardy as some of the animals we have here. The wild pig is built to survive. It will eat anything.
It's like
it
a
can
little
survive
dinosaur.
anything. They're mean. They can handle stuff. You know what I mean? Terrible environments, they can handle it. Other big animals can't always deal with that. And then the poaching efforts and things like that. So now the politics and the poaching and the difference that's there has created an environment where now it takes massive amounts of dollars to try and sustain the African hunting herd. And now, because there are hunters that come from the United States that spend that money, that do that, there is a future, and Africa is coming back.
That's true. A lot of them are.
One of the things that we talked about was the movie Trophy. It was built by CNN. It's on Netflix, and they invented it in order to. They produced it in order to shine a light on how terrible trophy hunting is. But once they did their research, and I give the CNN all the credit in the world for this, they showed both sides very fairly. And I think that the person that read this article might want to watch that as well, because that might be another education after what I just did to them. I want to thank you so much for tuning into the Greenway Outdoors podcast. We had an excellent time with you. And speaking of awesome recipes, like our first guest talked about, we have an awesome recipe for you. It's axis deer, but it's orange axis deer, which reminds me of like really, really good Chinese food, but like 100 times better. And it can also be done with whitetail and mule deer. So I invite you to try it.
It's fantastic.
It was great.
It was very good.
Thanks so much for tuning in. Stay green. For today's recipe, we're going to be cooking up orange venison. For this recipe and many others, visit thegreenwayoutdoors.com. There's a lot of different ways you can break down axis deer and any deer. Now, these cuts right here are from the hindquarters, and the first thing I'm going to do is show you how to cut the deer so that you can make it as tender as possible, breaking up the lines in the meat. It's going to be an awesome orange, powerfully flavored venison recipe that you're going to enjoy. Let's get started. When looking at a rump steak, you want to look at the lines in the meat, and you want to cut your steaks across those lines so that they're broken up as much as possible. This will mean smaller steaks, but also means more tender steaks. Then take those venison strips and soak them in salt water overnight. Rinse them off thoroughly and then put them in a bowl. Add the soy sauce and then the cornstarch and mix thoroughly. Make sure you put the soy sauce in first. If you don't, the cornstarch and soy sauce will make some sort of cement and really ruins everything. Not that I've ever done that. Once the mixing's complete, set aside for later. Next, you'll combine your orange juice, molasses, 2 tablespoons of rice vinegar, sesame oil, and remaining soy sauce. Stir it up and then heat oil in a large pot or deep fryer to 375 degrees. Now let's move back over to the meat. I prefer to use peanut oil, and I let it cook for 6 to 8 minutes. While that's cooking, you'll add your jalapenos and orange peels with a little bit of olive oil to a skillet over medium heat. Once aromatic, add the ginger, garlic, and red pepper flake. Cook for about 1 to 2 minutes. Next, you'll add your soy sauce and orange juice mixture to the skillet. Combine and cook. It should thicken after about 1 minute. After that, pour it over the venison and garnish with scallions and serve.
Man, that smells fantastic. You know, whether you're in Texas, whether you're in Hawaii, wherever you go to harvest this beautiful axis deer, one thing is always the same. Everyone says that this meat is the least gamey and the best tasty of all venison there is. And with a pineapple chaser, I'd have to agree, because oh my gosh, the full flavor, and that sauce is the perfect mix of salty and sweet. I know you're gonna enjoy it. You can tell someone they're eating beef and they will not know the difference. What a tasty, clean, organic, non-antibiotic, amazing meat that you can get out in the outdoors, whether you're in Texas or Hawaii. Check it out. Check out this recipe for all different types of venison. Thanks so much for tuning in. Stay green.
We hope you enjoyed this week's episode of The Greenway Outdoors. Check us out on NRM Streamcast, YouTube, Carbon TV, and everywhere podcasts can be found. Please submit all show ideas to thegreenwayoutdoors@gmail.com. See you next week. Stay green.